All right. Hey, hey, welcome back. All right. So, Aries, let's jump on into one. I want to take a look at more specific and detailed message coming through specifically from their point of view. So, what are they thinking? What are they seeing? We got a Queen of Cups. They've got love on the brain. If they remember Aries wearing white, they really like Aries in that particular outfit. This looks like yoga pants, tank top, comfy, like Sunday morning kind of attire. If Aries had a child with this person, they really liked that entire process of Aries, being pregnant. Something that was very like there's a lot of tender emotions here. They also feel like Aries, whether it's a human baby or anything that Aries nurtures, they have a fond memory of Aries being this soft, nurturing, loving energy here. Now, if Aries is a feminine, they particularly have a strong memory of Aries as a divine feminine. I think Aries was very soothing, very healing for them. Aries might have practiced meditation, yoga, and that might have been something that even if they chuckled at it or made fun of it, in fact, it's like the serenity that exudes off of Aries. Somebody sits cross legged a lot, by the way, but that energy that Aries exudes, they know is no joke. They know that there is something really amazing, even if they don't practice the same meditation or the same like spirituality practice, they still feel like Aries is memories that they have of Aries are really, really beautiful. Very much, it impacted them. We have a Queen of Wands also. It's funny because Aries is not just soft and gentle. They also have memories of when they were Aries' partner, and Aries, they were proud to be seen with Aries. I'm not saying that they aren't still with Aries. We don't see that yet. We just see this is kind of their emotions toward Aries right now, is that Aries is someone that they are very proud to have stood beside. They have very clear memories of Aries, like in a, maybe dressed in red at some social event, social gathering. They may have particularly thought that they looked really good standing beside Aries, and just was like, man, we walked in like a power couple. This I'm hearing Lady in Red. Never seen so looking so gorgeous as you did tonight. Never seen you shine so bright. You were amazing. Is that Christopher? Forgive me if I just said the wrong name. Lady in Red. Ah, I'm going to leave it as that because I can't think right now. Christopher keeps flashing through my head. So forgive me if I misquoted that. Aries tends to, by the way, this Aries could have dark hair. Specifically, sometimes they keep it long or let it be long and kind of natural. They have a very natural beauty about them. This particular Aries has I would say this, they have a calm to them and they also have a spice to them. They can be the life of the party, but then they're also really soothing to be around. They do have a splash of arrogance that I think this character likes, or let's say a swaggering confidence, but they're not hooked on themselves, if that makes sense. That's the way this person sees Aries. This is probably one of the nicest messages I've seen for Aries in a long time, as far as like how someone views our Aries. It's very, very appreciative of like especially the beauty of a divine feminine. They do feel like Aries perhaps changed over. I think that they knew Aries for quite a few years, and Aries changed over time in their eyes. It doesn't mean Aries wasn't always spicy and sexy, but I'm wondering if they like saw the different facets of Aries' character over the course of time. It does kind of look like the version of Aries they liked the best, though, was the really soothing, really soft, really feminine, or really like nurturing, mothering energy. It seems like more so than a femme fatale, sexy, this and that. I think that their favorite version of Aries, the one that they thought the most of, and instantly their brain goes to, is that soft, nurturing version of Aries. Now, here's the problem. We have a 10 of Swords in the reverse, and we have a 10 of Wands. There has been some devastating blow to this connection. It ended abruptly. It ended with agony. It ended where I still feel like they're kind of helpless. They don't know how to move on from this. 10 of Wands should be like laying down, burdens and saying, oh, well, it's over, but they can't get over it. This hurts like every freaking day. And on this 10 of Wands card, it says, them standing at a crossroads, wondering, what do I do now? Where do I go now? They can't seem to let go. They're still very much living in the ending of this connection. 5 of Cups, they are lost right now. This character, they could have dark hair themselves. I don't know. I don't know if they came from money, or once upon a time they had, a comfortable, good paying job or something like that. And, kind of like the happy home. It's like they had it all. And losing Aries is like, who cares about the house? Who cares about whatever? They've really lost direction. They seem to be floating in outer space right now. Money doesn't matter. Big house doesn't matter. Career path doesn't matter. They are like very much detached and just floating right now, because their emotions are the thing that there's no fulfillment here right now. They perhaps liked their shoes. It could have been particular about their shoes. This seems like someone who sometimes wears glasses or contacts lenses, not all the time, just for certain things. And that could also talk about something to do with their vision. Like maybe they didn't understand, maybe they didn't see how much they had to lose until they already lost Aries. God, Ace of Cups, they love Aries now more than they did than when they were with Aries. Of course, that makes me think of Prince. I love you more than I did when you were mine. They may be somebody who's like not really prone to big emotional outbursts. I feel like they tended not to express a ton, which is the other reason why it's like the despair and the loss is combined with this huge overflowing of love. It's like a well has been opened up in them that maybe wasn't as visible when Aries was with them. Let me just ask, who was this person? How did they treat Aries back when Aries was with them? We have the Devil. They might have been kind of obsessed about money. They might have been heavily puppeted and controlled by the lust for shiny things. They needed cash. They needed money. Maybe they thought Aries was also, going to be, they may have wanted to make a lot of cash and dough in the beginning when they first got with Aries. Aries might have been just super hot, super sexy, and they wanted to be like the James Bond character, slick back hair, wearing the nice tuxes, having the sexiest, whatever, honey on their arm. It doesn't matter what gender, but Aries did come across as a feminine so far. But what's so crazy is that if they pictured themselves like being this amazing, super wealthy power couple with Aries, what's so funny is that the version of Aries that they liked the best was actually the comfortable lounging around, not the, red hot mini dress or the, $3,000 outfit and jewels being seen at, public events and nice, expensive restaurants. They actually liked the comfortable Aries, the going to the ocean, sitting around on a Sunday morning, the gentle, like no makeup on kind of easygoing energy. So ironically, when they were with Aries, they may have been really focused on what they thought was important, but it was all like their vision of what, a great life was supposed to look like. We're supposed to be the power couple, super sexy, super successful, and whatever it took to uphold that image, that might have been what they were after all the time. I mean, that could have been the only thing. They maybe thought, yeah, as soon as I get all the money and all of the stuff that I need, then I can worry about being peaceful. But for right now, me and my sexy Aries, we just need to keep up a lifestyle. The thing is, that was puppeting them. I really feel, by the way, somebody could have a black cat as a pet. I'm literally hearing like the word or the name Smokey or Shadow or something for a pet's name, like even like a little Lucifer or Beelzebub or something, right? Because it's the devil card. But we have a little bit of devil energy there. Capricorn coming off that card as well. I feel like they had some kind of almost toxic job. And I think that ruled them. and they did well in it. It looks like this person bought a nice house or always had, like, I think appearance was important to them, not necessarily because they were like, I'm so sexy, let me gloat at myself in the mirror, but more like, the shoes had to be clean white, always looking brand new. Even casual, it still had to be like preppy or, chic or something. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good and wanting to, whatever your style is, you rock it, right? But I feel like this was not because they necessarily cared about the style, but because of the image that it projected. At work, it was, like possibly very well dressed, man or woman of means. And then even in comfort or downtime, even that had to be like, wasn't enough to wear just like a nice button up shirt. And maybe it had to be name brand, it had to be $120 button up shirt instead of like 12. I feel like that is a stigma that they surrounded themselves with. We have finish line ahead on that 9 of Wands, and we have the Knight of Pentacles. I think at this point they would happily throw all that away. I think that they realized how foolish this was. I think they realized that need to be somebody financially was a symptom of some part of them that was broken. And I think that they realized, look, I think maybe Aries came from a totally different background where it was like, Aries might have come from a background where it wasn't always about making tons of money, or like maybe they personally were like, who cares what job you do as long as you do something that you enjoy. And if it's scrubbing turtles, awesome. If it's janitorial work, whatever, every job has to be done. There is no dishonorable job. Who cares if you work in an office building as a janitor or as the CEO? You're working. That's I don't think that Aries carried the same perspective on status. I think Aries was like, you know what? Everything that we do in life has some impact, and so it doesn't matter. Aries might have gone to school later on in life, also might have been working toward some kind of a career path that they cared about. They may have paid their way through school. I just feel like Aries, actually, one of the big allures for who Aries is that I don't think Aries was born with a silver spoon in their mouth, which is probably why they have a very sexy style about them that is also very unself-conscious, is probably because they didn't worry about keeping up with the Joneses or whatever. They didn't worry about status so much. They just do what they like. Aries cares more about authenticity. And I think that is ultimately what they find sexiest about Aries, but I think they figured that out a little too late. So what was it that pushed them away from Aries or drove Aries away from them? We got the Two of Pentacles, or excuse me, the Two of Cups. We've got stacks and stacks of money and business deals in front of the love. And we still have the wounds that, the love needed to heal their wounds. They couldn't quite surrender this lust for money, even though they had Aries, and Aries was more important to them than money. But with this Two of Cups, also meeting Aries made them want even more, made them want to be successful because they loved Aries. They want to offer a lot to Aries. In this storyline, the very thing that made them love Aries was also something that pushed more of their shadow side to the forefront. Now they want more money. Now they want to be more toxic, more focused on, got to get more money, got to stay at this toxic job. Even if it meant, like, Aries might have been starting to get pissed at them quite a lot. And it's like, the more money I make, then the less pissed Aries will be. But I think the money came between them, right? We see that obviously. The money also started to be stacked up. I feel like Aries was getting less and less of this person's time because piles of money were more important. And instead of, if they really thought that eventually the more I make, the happier Aries will be, that had the reverse effect. The further they let money divide them from Aries instead of them choosing to lean more into the connection. I mean, here's the thing, it's such a double-edged sword because they wanted to do more for Aries because they loved Aries, but the more they did, the more it pushed them away from Aries. So, irony. We have a Knight of Cups. Yeah, I really feel like the importance of the relationship got downgraded to where it was just a night. They kind of like chased a little bit of moments of romance instead of like committing and building with Aries and having Aries be the primary focus. I think that a really important connection between themselves and Aries got downgraded to where they were behaving as a knight. Knights are still very busy. They're action takers. They're not builders yet. They're still zipping around trying to figure stuff out. Yes, they loved Aries. We know that. But they started to act more like a knight, not like a two of cups. So interestingly enough, a very important person in their life was the person that they started to not give very much to, even though that's the person they most wanted to give to. So the more important Aries was to them, the more they focused on work, if that makes sense, or money, or whatever whatever was puppeting them, that drive, that need to be successful. And that's what wrecked this connection. And now now that Aries is gone, I mean, it's like everything's gone. I could care less about how fancy the house is, how many square feet. I could care less. I don't care if my stupid sneakers have scuff marks or not. Where's my Aries? Like that's the frustration on this. That's a tough place to be in for them, for sure. Okay, let's go here. Do we have just one message just for my Aries? The Chariot. This says, if Aries walked away from them and they did it for all the right reason, keep on moving, Aries, because they have to make changes. If Aries comes back into their world and they are going to still do more of the same thing, then nothing changes. Aries made a decision to move forward because of Aries' authenticity. And it says, stay authentic and let them find their own authenticity. Maybe this lust for greed and money they had to break that down first, which means the only way to do that is for them to lose something that money can't replace. The further Aries continues to go with, that intention, because I don't think Aries made this decision willy-nilly. I think Aries decided, I'm not doing this. I don't want a relationship built on this, or a relationship where I barely see my partner because all they care about is money. This feels hollow. I'm not going to stay where I feel like it feels hollow, where I feel empty. I'm not doing it. I'm moving forward. I think that's better because it kind of forces them to get more real also. 10 of Pentacles. I really think that Aries is going to be able to feel like they're doing the right thing for themselves, keep moving forward, and at the same time, I don't think Aries has seen the last of this person. I think this person's just very close to abandoning this lifestyle choice that they had been making and shifting over and actually pursuing what their heart really wants, which of course is our Aries. But that, Aries has to match with somebody who can like give to them fully. And so if it's not this person, it'll be someone else. But I think Aries is moving forward for all the right reasons, is what this says. Let them become the right partner. Otherwise, Aries can certainly meet somebody else who would be the right partner. But I don't think Aries is going to tolerate something that they don't want. By the way, that person could have been a Capricorn. We really didn't have much major arcana. We had that Cancerian energy off the Chariot at the end, but we didn't really have much in the way of majors. It was a lot of journey with the minor arcana. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And shout out to Patricia Fauntleroy. Bye, you guys.